and more informed investing decisions. I'm your host, Dave Schechter. We're going to get started in just a little bit, but we're going to give another minute or two for more people to join. And in the meantime, go ahead and write to me in the chat where you are joining us from today. And of course, your name. I see Jose has said hello. Jose, where are you from? Also, do let me know if everyone can hear me okay, just so that we can do a quick sound check and make sure that everybody can see my screen and hear me okay. So that way we don't run into any technical issues during the webinar. All right, I see Tom has joined. Hey, hey, hey. Love the energy, Tom. Okay, I see Jose said he's from England. Excellent. Very cool. I am based in sunny Tel Aviv. So it is evening just right now. And so now is the perfect time to review all of the amazing features that are available on Investing.com. Okay, great. I think we are ready to go. Hello, Muterk from Tijuana, Mexico. Okay, awesome. All right, I think we have enough people to go ahead and get started. So away we go. So in today's webinar, we are going to review free tools worth knowing. We're going to take a look at the economic calendar. We're going to look into how you can set all different types of alerts, how to dig into the screener. And then after that, we're going to take a look at all of the InvestingPro features, namely ProPicks AI, Warren AI, Fair Value, Health Score, ProTips, and Ideas. A little bit of housekeeping before we actually start. So a recording of this webinar will be sent via email after this webinar is over. And at the tail end of the webinar, there will be a Q&A session where you will be able to ask any questions about the product that you wish. So let's go ahead and get started. Amazing. So before we begin, I'd just like to orient this webinar. This is less about how to do technical trading and day trading and things of that nature. It's more to get you oriented with the website, where you can find these features on the website, what they are, how they're made up, and how you can leverage them to make smarter investing decisions. So even before we begin that, just to give you a general overview of what Investing.com is. Investing.com is a financial news analysis and data website. We cover almost all global exchanges in 33 unique languages. And if you'd like to dial in the site to your particular location or to your specific language, all you need to do is just hover over the flag icon in the top right corner and, of course, select your location. So when I first come in, when I first wake up in the morning and I come into the office and I take a look at, I want to come to the homepage to get a sense of all of the news that happened during the time that I was away. And then, of course, directly below the items, the news items at the top here, I have some quick charts for indices or commodities or ETFs and bonds. Directly below that, we have the most undervalued and overvalued stocks. This is, of course, predicated on our fair value system. We're going to dig in more detail into what fair value is and how it's comprised in just a moment, but wanted to highlight for you guys that it can be found on the homepage as well. Just a really good place for you to get a sense of what's most overvalued or undervalued at this current point in time. Directly below that, we have the economic and earnings calendar. We also have calendars for dividends and IPOs and other things as well, but it's all available here on the homepage as well. Below that, we have some popular screens and additional tools. Now, before we dig into individual features, I did want to bring to your attention this area on the right side of the screen, which is what we call the workstation. It's just a quick jumping point to all of the really important features like ProPicks AI, or to Warren AI if you want to ask Warren a question, or if you want to quickly go ahead and check on any of the alerts that might have been triggered that you set, or breaking news, and of course markets. So all of this can be done via the workstation. You can, of course, access all of those features through the nav bar, the navigation bar here at the top, but the workstation follows you around the site. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. So why don't we go ahead and start digging into some of the free features. So the first one that I'd like to showcase is the economic calendar. So essentially the economic calendar gives you an overview of the important events or announcements that might affect global trade. So as you can see here, you have a bunch of different time ranges, either today, tomorrow, next week, or a calendar. You can go ahead and dial in the date ranges. And of course, if we click on the filters over here, I can select any country that I wish, or I can filter these economic events based off of any different categories like inflation or bonds or balance or credit, and of course the level of importance. So 3 stars will only show you the most important events and announcements, and the single star would be less important. So if you are trying to lower your noise to signal ratio, like I am, then I would only select the 3 stars in order to surface the most important economic events that can affect your trading. So I've chosen to look specifically within the US market, and I'm looking at my time range of this week. And I can see that I have crude oil inventories that will be announced shortly. And tomorrow I have core CPI and also initial jobless claims. So that's usually a pretty big event that could affect trading. And then, of course, on Friday, we have core PCE and price index announcements. So let's say I didn't know what any one of these particular items are. Let's say I didn't know what CPI is. I can, of course, just go ahead and click through to the item itself. It'll give me an explanation that it's the consumer price index, measures the change in the price of goods and services from the perspective of the consumer. Here I have a handy chart and, of course, the forecasts and the previous announcements and reports of the consumer price index. So let's say that I wanted to go ahead and set an alert to be notified of this particular announcement. All I need to do is just go ahead and click on the bell icon. I can choose to set this alert either once or recurring if it is a recurring announcement, and I want to set a reminder at any any time range that I want. Let's say I want to know 30 minutes ahead. And then, of course, I'm going to go ahead and create the alert, and I see that it's been successfully created. I'm going to show you in a little bit where you can modify and manage all of your alerts, but before I do so, I wanted to show the other types of calendars that we offer here. So we are currently in the holiday season, so if you wanted to get a sense of which exchanges are closed on which dates, you can go ahead and do that through here. Right now, we're kind of at the tail ends of earnings season, so this particular calendar is very important for those individuals who are tracking earnings. So I can see that on the ledger for this week, we have Accenture and Nike are going to be announcing earnings tomorrow. And of course, if I wanted to also filter the levels of importance, I have the ability to do that here. If I wanted to showcase earnings for any particular sector, I can also go ahead and dial that in according to my preferences. Excellent. Just quickly jumping back to another important item on the economic calendar. Here you have, you can select your time zone, and then once you've selected your time zone, you can then choose to see how you want to display the time itself, either the time remaining until the announcement or the hour that the announcement is going to be made. So here, let's just go ahead and change this a little bit so you can see what that looks like. And here we see that crude oil inventories for today is going to be announced in 20 minutes. So we'll go ahead and modify that according to your preferences. So while we're on the subject of alerts, why don't we go ahead and take a look at the other types of alerts that I can go ahead and set. So we're going to use our trusty example of Cirrus Logic. As a disclaimer, I have not made any positions in Cirrus Logic in the past 72 hours. This is surely for demonstrative purposes. So if I want to go ahead and set a price alert or any type of alert for any equity, I can just click on the bell icon here. And here I have 4 different types of alerts that I can set. I can set by price, whether it moves above or below a certain price that I dictate. Or if there's a change, whether that's a percentage of a gain or a loss or both, I can have it recurring or only once. If I want to set an alert for trade volume, if it exceeds a specific amount of volume, then I can also set an alert for that. And of course, earnings, which we just saw on the other calendar, but you can also set it through any equity page that you wish. So why don't we just make an example here. Let's say the price right now is 124. Let's say I want to be notified if this price moves below 110. Excellent. So I'll go ahead and create it. And then once I've set my alerts, how can I go ahead and see which alerts I've set or modify them? I do so by hovering over the profile icon and then clicking on Alert Center. And here we can see the price alert that I just set. It moves below 110. It's only triggered to be, set to be triggered once. And of course, if I want to just disable it without deleting it, I can do that. And if I want to delete it, I can do that as well. If I set any earnings alerts, I can do that here. And of course, the economic event for the consumer price index that we set just earlier is also here as well. Inside the Alert Center, you can also track and modify any of the authors that you're following. We'll show you in just a bit how you can go ahead and follow authors, and of course, any types of news items that you are following. So let's now go ahead and take a look at the different types of news and some of the news items that I find particularly helpful. So you can get to the news by hovering over it in the navigation bar here at the top. Here it'll give you a breakdown per different categories, such as earnings, analyst ratings, transcripts, so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and click through to the news. Excellent. So if we hover over here, you see that there's a category called Pro News. This is a paywalled feature. You need an InvestingPro subscription in order to be able to access this news. And then the other categories that I find particularly interesting are earnings, just to, in case it's earnings season, just to go ahead and browse the article titles to make sure I didn't miss anything. If I'm also looking for investment ideas, I can go ahead and I can do that here as well. And then, of course, the other things I find really interesting are SWOT analysis, which basically gives me the for and against argument for buying any particular stock. And then for those data nerds among us, we also have earnings call transcripts so that you can go ahead and dig into all of that wonderful data as well. Moving on to analysis, you can find it in the top navigation bar here. It's broken down by editors' picks and markets, commodities, cryptocurrency, so on and so forth. Let's go ahead and click through to this article, 10 Contrarian Stock Picks for 2026 by Jesse Cohen, who I also follow. He's an amazing analyst. So two things I want to highlight here. Number one, if you're not following any particular author, you just go ahead and click on the follow button and it'll be added to your alert center of the authors that you're following. But also sometimes you might see an article you start reading and you just don't have time to finish it and you want to save it for later. You can go ahead and click on the bookmark icon at the top of the screen here in order to save the article. And if you want to come back to your saved items, just hover over your profile icon and click on saved items. And then there's a list of all of the saved items that you can read later. Excellent. So the next thing that I would like to showcase to you guys is the screener. So the screener can be found in the top nav bar here. And for those of you who are not familiar with what a screener is, it's a really excellent way for you to filter for stock ideas based on your investing preferences or themes. So for example, if I am a value investor, I can go ahead and click on the preset screens in the right corner over here. We broke these down into different investing themes like value, growth, momentum, or small caps. So let's say I'm a value investor and I want to find stocks that are a value buy or that consistently grow based on earnings. So here we have consistent earning growers. I can go ahead and I can apply this filter. And do you see these little bubbles? I see in the total applied filters, there are 5 filters that have been applied here. And inside these tabs indicates there are metrics that have been dialed in based on this preset screen. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at what these are. if I click on more filters, I can see all of the metrics that I can modify. And I see on this preset screen, I see that we're excluding any nano caps and that the PEG ratio is favorable. Let's also take a look at what's under the hood here. I see that EPS 5-year growth is positive, and return on common equity is positive, and the operating margin is positive. Excellent. So if I want to collapse all of these metrics to lower my noise to my noise to signal, then I can do that. And then directly below that, I have a list of all the stocks that are now in my screen, right? So I see that I have 601 stocks that are found out of my total universe of almost 8,000 stocks, specifically within the US market. Now, I can also dial this into whatever country or exchange that I wish, but I tend to focus on US equities. And so let's go ahead and add our screen back here and apply. And then I see that there's a lot of results here, and it's a lot to focus on, and I like to focus on one thing at a time. So I'm going to only show 10 results at a time. And then I can now view this information based on different metrics or slices, if you will. So let's say I want to go ahead and click on Insights. Here it gives me the fair value upside based on our fair value system, which I'll show you in a moment how that's comprised. Analyst target upside, overall health. We'll dig into health also in just a little bit, and for you to better understand how we apply our health ratings. And for those of you who are not Apple product users, there is a slider here at the bottom with a lot more metrics to be seen. So I will go ahead and let you explore all of the wonderful information here at your own time. Another thing that I wanted to show you is that, let's say I wanted to, out of all of these 601 stocks, I wanted to filter for the ones that have the most upside. So all of these columns you can organize them or sort them highest to lowest. So if I wanted to take a look at all of the ones that have the most upside, then I can just go ahead and click on that column and it'll sort that accordingly. Let's say I wanted to sort based on the stocks in this list based on overall health. I can go ahead and I can do that as well. And here you'll see the arrow will show you the ascending or descending order. Excellent. So now I want to jump to the actual Investing Pro features. So the way that you can get to the Investing Pro dashboard is by clicking on Open Investing Pro over here. And the first thing that I want to show you is the Pro dashboard equity page. You'll see that the Pro dashboard is very different than the free Investing.com site, and there's a good reason for it. So let's take an example. Let's use our trusty example of Cirrus Logic in order to showcase fair value, financial health, and pro tips. So essentially, what is fair value? Fair value can be found on the right side of every equity page. And essentially what it is our proprietary scoring model based on up to 17 different investing models in order to take a look at the company's latest book of business in relation to its current market price. So we're looking at the models that we're looking at are EV to revenue multiples or PE multiples, 5-year DCF growth exits, up to 17 of these unique investing models. We then apply a fair value price of what we believe according to the company's book of business of what this fair value price should be according to this specific metric. We then roll all of these estimates up into one estimate of fair value. And in this particular case, we can see that according to Cirrus Logic's book of business, we've appraised it, or our system has appraised it as worth $151.89 in comparison to its current market price of $124.49, which gives it a 22% upside. The uncertainty in these models is a medium risk, and here is the 52-week spread. So we here at Investing.com are big fans of transparency. We don't like black boxes. And so if I wanted to understand how the system came to the conclusion that On this particular investing model, EV over revenue multiples equals $136. All I need to do is just go ahead and click on the assessment, and it'll bring me to the models page of Cirrus Logic. Here are all of the metrics that we are looking at. Here are the benchmark companies that we're using in order to benchmark performance in this particular industry and sector. Here are the LTM revenue multiples, the projected revenue multiples, fair value, all of the associated explanations of the peers that we're benchmarking against. Let's just go back. So you can see all of the data for Cirrus Logic in relation to its peers and sector across all of these different metrics. Here are the different risk tolerances. Here are the supporting calculations. We have the equity waterfall, financials, historical multiples, all of the information that you need in order to double check our work, in order to better understand how each and every one of these investing models, how we've come up with that particular estimate. So you'll also notice that if you're a more advanced investor and you say to yourself, hey, in my particular calculations, price to sales multiples doesn't mean as much, I can go ahead and I can remove it from the overall estimate, or PE multiples in this particular scenario doesn't really mean that much to my investing. I can go ahead and I can add or remove any one of these models, and you'll see that it changes the average and it also changes the upside. So you can really dial this in according to your investing style and your preferences. Excellent. So the next thing I want to focus on here is something called financial health. So what is financial health? Financial health is determined by ranking the company on over 100 factors in companies in that particular sector and in that particular industry and operating in developed economic markets. So essentially, we are looking at 5 ARC metrics: relative value, price momentum, cash flow, growth, and profitability. And we're rolling those ARC metrics up into one overall health label. We then grade it on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being bad, 5 being good. And in this particular scenario, Cirrus Logic has scored a 4 out of 5, giving it great performance. So that's all nice and well that I can oversimplify things, but let's say I'm a real stickler for the details and I'm really trying to understand why profitability health was given a grade of 4. So it's easy for me to understand if I go ahead and I click on it and then click on profitability health. And I can see all of the metrics that comprise profitability health. And there's a fair number of them here. So we're looking at cash return on invested capital. We're looking at net income to common margin. We're looking at return on assets. We then give you the actual value itself. We give you how it's ranked in a percentile in relation to its sector and peers. And of course, the history over the last 5-6 years. So you can get a sense of how Cirrus Logic has performed over the last couple of years for this particular metric of cash return on invested capital. And we can see how this grade has changed over time. If we want to do the same thing for growth health, we can also do the same thing. You can take a look at all the metrics that we're using in order to assess the growth health of Cirrus Logic. And of course, I have charts of the health over time. To the right here, I have a very handy chart of all of these metrics, all of the metrics plotted on a chart. So it's easy for me to understand how they're performing in different areas related to the health of the company. I can also go over here and just get a different way of viewing this data as well, and how each one of these metrics is performing. So I want to go ahead and understand exactly what EPS diluted cumulative growth over the last 5 years is. It gives me what the definition of it is, sector benchmark analysis. How does it benchmark against its competitors? So there's an amazing amount of data to be had here in relation to the health. So I invite you to go ahead and check this out. The next feature that I want to focus on here is something called ProTips. So what is ProTips? ProTips is our system's way of flagging important alerts about any equity and surfacing it for you in a way that's easy to understand whether it's in favor of the company or against the company. Is it a bullish alert? Is it a bearish alert? and why this particular thing is important when doing due diligence on any stock. So for example, I can see here if I scroll down the list that there's a lot of green here. So I see that management has been aggressively buying back shares. It's trading at a low PE ratio relative to near-term earning growth. So assuming I didn't know what this is, I can just go ahead and click on it. I can understand what this metric is, why it's something that might be particularly good. Below that, I have how Cirrus Logic performs in relation to its peers. I can see what the average is. I can see some handy income charts and also historical trends. Why don't we take a look at another company that doesn't have so much green, so you can get an idea of what a bearish what a bearish pro tip might look like. So we see the price has fallen significantly over the last year. That's kind of a no-brainer. But in case you didn't know why that might not necessarily be a good thing for the company, you can understand why, and also see the peer benchmarks and how this particular company, Enphase, is performing on this particular metric in relation to their peers. Here's an industry comparison, historical trends, sector benchmarks. 1 year total price return for Enphase ranks below 91% of the company. So whenever I hear about an interesting stock idea, or if a family member or a friend tells me about this hot new stock that just hit the market, or that I should be on the lookout for, even if I'm a novice investor, I can know that green generally means good and red generally means bad, depending on where I am in the world, of course. So if I hear about a stock idea, or if I have a list of, let's say, 10 or 20 different stock ideas, and I want to quickly vet the list and then just put 3 to the side for further due diligence, what I'll do is I'll come to Investing.com to the Pro dashboard. I'll pipe it in the search. I'll take a look at the fair value. Is there an upside on this particular equity? Yes or no? What does the financial health look like? In this particular case, the financial health of Enphase doesn't look so great. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at ProTips. Is there anything that jumps off the page that would prevent me from wanting to look further into this company? Yes or no? So between this trifecta, it helps narrow the time that it takes for me to do diligence, initial due diligence, from, let's say, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, down to literally 10 or 15 seconds. So this is a massive time-saving tool that you can use when you're trying to do due diligence or initial due diligence on a large list of stocks. So speaking of stock ideas, there are 3 features that are super helpful in trying to generate stock ideas. So actually, before we go into the ideas, I do want to show you how to set up your watch list and how to set up a view, because that is pretty important. So you can go to your watch list in the Pro dashboard by clicking on watch list over here. And you can see that there are 3 default views that come with every subscription out of the box. One of them is market view. We have all of the fair value and health score related data that I just showed you right now. We also have risk related data, Altman Z-score, financial leverage. We have efficiency that also shows return on assets, and of course, the different health labels as well. But let's say that I am a dividend investor and I want to create a view that showcases dividend related metrics and reflects that onto any one of my portfolios. So the way that I would do that is I would click on add view. I'm going to go ahead and call it dividend lens. I'm going to create. I'm going to select it from the list over here. And if I know the metrics that I'm looking for, I can, of course, just type it in here. But if I don't, I can select dividends as a category from the list and then go down the list of dividend related metrics and then pipe them into the view. So assuming I don't know what Schauder rule number is, I can just hover over the information icon and it will give me an explanation of what each and every one of these particular metrics are. So let's go ahead and populate this particular view. I want to take a look at dividend frequency, the dividend growth streak, and the payment streak. Let's do CAGR 7 years just to get an idea of what the growth has been. Let's take a look at the coverage ratio, which is how much cash on hand they have in order to keep on paying me this dividend, and the cash amount of the last dividend. I think that's enough. Let's refresh the page. There we go. Okay. So now my dividend lens has been created, and all of the stocks that are currently in this list, I now have this information reflected there. The reason I'm showing you this is because, excuse me, when you create a view, it also gets ported to other areas of the Pro dashboard, such as the screener, also ProPicks AI, excuse me. We can find it here as well. Okay, so when I'm trying to find investing ideas, one of the ways that I can do that is by clicking on the Ideas tab. Excuse me. So essentially what the Ideas tab is, well, the idea behind it is that there are a lot of prolific investors out there that probably know a thing or two about investing. And so wouldn't it be a great idea if we could understand what's in their portfolio and maybe copy what they're doing? So that's exactly what Ideas does for you. You can filter for different investor types like billionaires or banks or hedge funds or specific sectors like healthcare or real estate. You can also type anything into the search in order to find things that interest you. So let's go ahead and take a look at Bill Ackman. So Bill Ackman is a prolific investor, and let's say I wanted to take a look at what is inside Bill Ackman's portfolio. So the top right here, I see the total holdings value, which is roughly about $14.5 billion. I see the quarter over quarter change, how many holdings are in this particular portfolio. I can see the price performance history in relation to the S&P 500 and how well Bill has been performing in relation to that benchmark. Directly below that, I have the rankings tables, which spell out for me exactly which stocks are in Bill's portfolio and how much of each of these stocks comprise the entirety of that portfolio. So I can see that Uber is 20%. I see that Brookfield Corporation is also almost 20%. He's holding Google, Amazon, different types of shares of Alphabet. That's kind of what it looks like, I guess. Chipotle and Hilton. And if I wanted to get an understanding of what the sector concentration is, I can do that based on industry group or sector. It's almost 30% consumer discretionary, 21% industrials, and 20% financial. So below that are also the filings trackers for the 13F filing. So it's really just a really good way to take a look at all these different investors and see what's in their portfolio and maybe try to copy a thing or two of what they're doing. Let's say I wanted to copy the entire portfolio to create a mock portfolio to see how it performs. I can, of course, just copy the watch list. And it's now part of my portfolio selection that I can choose to view. Excellent. So the next feature I want to show you is ProPicks AI. So what is ProPicks AI? It combines real-time data, advanced analytics, and Investing.com's proprietary scoring to rank stocks by upside, valuation, growth, and risk. We then break these strategies down into different themes. So for example, our flagship strategy, which is Tech Titans, it selects the top 15 tech stocks each month. It rotates the bad ones out, and it rotates new stocks with really good potential in. So why don't we go ahead and take a look. Okay, before we take a look at a particular strategy, these ProPicks AI strategies are available in 26 different markets. You can find the list of all of the supported countries here. And you can also select any particular focus that you wish. You could look for small cap, mid cap, quality compounders, value, in order to find investing ideas. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at top value stocks. At the top here, I have the performance since this since the backtest of the strategy was implemented in 2013. I can see the total return of this strategy was about 1,300%. Annualized return is about 22%, and the risk here is medium. So just a note for everyone here, ProPicks AI strategies are updated on the 1st of every single month. We notify Investing.com members of these strategy changes a couple days before the strategy is updated, on the day that the strategy is updated, and also a couple days after via email, push notifications, and also on-site messaging. So, but just so you know, the strategies are always updated on the 1st of every single month. And if I wanted to take a look at the strategies that were either added or removed on any particular month, I can just go ahead and select the month. Let's take November 1st for the sake of argument. Actually, no, let's do something a little more recent. Let's say September 1st of this year. And if I go to PIX history, I can see each and every stock that was added, the price it was added, the action, meaning added or removed. And you'll notice here that you have some of them that are removed, but they have a gain on exit. And the reason for that is because the system has identified a diminishing return on this particular stock, and it's identified a new stock with more potential than this particular selection. So it's choosing to rotate it out of the strategy in order to give room for a stock that it deems has more potential. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here a little bit more. So we continually get asked, how do I know why a stock was added or removed? So if I zoom in on the rationale column here, it'll tell me exactly why any particular stock was added. So let's take a look at the most recent strategy. And we see that Clear Secure was added on December 1st. So why was it added? It's because it has a compelling buy opportunity based on exceptional market performance. It's up 41% on a one-year return. It's got strong profitability. The company is demonstrating impressive financial health, almost 18% revenue growth, 56% EBITDA growth. They have a really amazing expansion strategy. Analysts are really bullish on it. And additional investable appear comes from a 2.2% dividend yield. So these are all the reasons why this particular stock was added to this strategy. And if we want to take a look at why Decker's Outdoor was removed at a 12.9% gain, we can do so as well. It's got relative weakness in the market due to market performance. It started to decline over the last 3 months. It's really strong profitability-wise, but the future outlook faces headwinds from $150 million tariff. So essentially, it explains to you all the reasons why any particular stock was rotated in or out of the strategy. Now, the segment directly below that is something called Stock Spotlight. You can take a look at the outperformers, the underperformers, or the new additions. So in this particular strategy, which is top value stocks, we can see that Victoria's Secret, since it was added in October, was an excellent selection as it's up 82.8%. If we want to take a look at other selections, we have Haemonetics. If I want to understand exactly what they do, I can go ahead and I can do that. I see it's in the healthcare sector. It was $54 when it was added back in September, and I can see that it's had a significant run up since November 6th. And it's still in the strategy as well. So you'll notice on the side over here something called Pro Research. So if you go ahead and you click through to it, essentially what it is, it's a PDF with some really insightful information. It gives you an executive summary about the company. We see that for Expedia, 17 consecutive quarters of double-digit growth in its B2B segment. We see some top-level pro tips. Here's the financial flow chart of all of their revenue, where it's going to profit, and where things are going into R&D. Here are the income statements, Q3 financials, and this is my favorite segment, which is the bull case and the bear case, why I should buy the stock or why I should not buy the stock, and of course, some additional insights. So these are in PDF format. You can go ahead and you can download them and share them with your friends and family. Excellent. Okay. So the next thing that I want to focus on is something called Warren AI. So what is Warren AI? And how is it different, let's say, from ChatGPT, Claude, or Grok? So essentially it comes down to two main differences. So number one is the large language model itself and how it's comprised and how it's built. So Warren AI is purpose-built to answer financial questions. It's extremely intuitive. Even if you ask it pretty vague questions, it'll still be able to give a really nice answer. And so one of the key differences between Warren AI and ChatGPT is how the large language model itself is built. So Warren AI is engineered to answer financial questions, and other large language models either are multi-purpose, which basically means is that they're moderately good at doing everything from analysis to design or general purpose models. And therefore, they might not necessarily be formatted to answering financial related questions in the best way possible. Now, the other component to this is the data that your large language model is connected to. So Warren AI is connected to real-time data that millions of Investing.com members rely on every single day for their trading, whereas other models might be connected to Reddit or Wikipedia or to the entirety of the internet, and the results that they're surfacing might be outdated or in some cases just flat out wrong. So with Warren AI, the language model itself is, number one, engineered to answer your financial questions. Number two, it's connected to real-time data, so that way you're always being surfaced the correct data in the best way possible. So why don't we go ahead and do a quick demo of what Warren AI can do. If you have a prompt and you want to go ahead and lock it in and send it, then just go ahead and do that. But if you're looking to generate some ideas, then we have these buttons here at the bottom. So if I want to analyze news, or if I want to screen for any particular type of stock, or let's say I wanted to do an evaluation of the stocks that are currently in my portfolio. So let's take a look at diversification strategy, right? So let's say I wanted to take a look at any one of my portfolios and see where I'm a little bit weak and where I might be able to improve. So Warren is going ahead and he's asking me which one of the three watch lists that I have. Why don't we take a look at where Bill Ackman can improve? Just bear with me for a moment. When we're live streaming, sometimes things can go a little bit slower. Oh, here we go. Okay. So here it provides a summary. We see that this watch list is dominated by US mega cap tech stocks. It's also leaning towards consumer discretionary, which we already identified using the tools inside the Ideas tab. Here are some of the key insights. 70% of your total market cap is parked in US big tech. So some of the takeaways are is that a single market hiccup could drive the whole portfolio lower. I apologize. Sometimes when we're streaming, that it's just a little heavy on the page. Okay, here we go. All right, so it's saying the key takeaways are is that you might be a little bit too invested in the tech sector within inside the United States, and if something happens, then it might drive the entire portfolio down. There's no emerging markets like Asia Pacific and Europe, and it gives you a diversification plan. It's telling to add healthcare or utilities and consumer staples. Look globally to diversify. Also add some small and mid caps. Gives you insights and recommendations. Here is a chart of the portfolio. US versus global exposure. And here's the bottom line. Bottom line is that it's a growth powerhouse, but it's all focused on US stocks. Adding names from defensive sectors and international markets and commodities will be able to cut your risk and unlock new sources of return. So You can also ask Warren AI more vague questions. So for example, a little while ago, President Trump said that he wanted to slash the Fed rate to 1%. And he wanted to cut interest rates to 1%. And I was curious which stocks or cryptocurrencies or real estate market would be impacted the most. And I also asked it if it had to guess which stocks would see the largest increase as a direct result of an interest rate cut, what would those stocks be and why? And it grabbed onto it and it said, it said equities and real estate would likely surge and crypto would see both tailwinds and volatility. It showed me specific sectors that would be likely winners as a result of that. And also gave out a chart of who would stand to gain the most. And also key takeaways. And then, of course, the follow-up questions if I wanted a ranked list of top S&P 500 stocks with the highest fair value upside. So it's extremely intuitive, and I invite you to go ahead and ask it any question that you wish. And then finally, one thing I want to showcase, which is a new feature that we launched less than a month ago, is something called Analyze Chart, where essentially Warren is analyzing real-time price charts in order to give you technical analysis based on any time frame. Could be 1 minute, 5 minutes, 1 day. It doesn't matter. It'll give you a summary of what it believes you should do. It'll give you the trends, the bearish trend and the bull trend, key levels and supports. It'll give you entry and exit points and stop losses. We'll just slide. Actually, let's open this up so you can see a little bit better. So for example, I asked it because I saw that recently Oracle was falling on a news announcement earlier today. So I was curious what Warren thinks from a technical analysis perspective about Oracle. So essentially it says it's trading at 183.38. It's sitting on 14% below its 20-day moving average, showing textbook oversold signals. The bears are firmly in control with 181.40 as the final line of defense before further decline. So what I really like about it is that if I'm not a savvy day trader and I don't know all the different ways of day trading, I can ask Warren exactly what it thinks I should do, what my entry and exit levels should be, who this particular model is for, what the confidence level is, and what to expect. So it's super duper handy for technical traders. And again, I invite you to go ahead and explore this at your own leisure. So with that, it ends our webinar for today. So what I would like to do is to do a quick recap on all the things that we reviewed today. So do create alerts for economic earnings and dividend announcements. Do follow authors and save articles for later. Create a watch list to see fair value and the health of your assets, and personalize those watch lists by creating views, as we showed you with the dividend lens view that we created, which was then ported over to the screener, ProPicks AI, and also the ideas tab. Do use ProPicks AI. 52 new strategies were added just last month for, I believe, another 16 countries. Do use ideas, under and overvalued stocks, and the screener for idea generation. Use Warren AI and ProTips to speed up due diligence. And also check out the new Analyze Chart tool, which we just saw. And of course, take advantage of our holiday discounts. We have a lot of discounts going also for existing subscribers to upgrade to Pro Plus. So definitely go ahead and check that out. And now I will open up the floor for questions. Okay, I see we have a question from John about ProTips. He said, quite often I see a highlight such as 2 analysts have revised their earnings. How do I see how many analysts there were altogether? Let's go ahead and see if we can figure that out for you. All right, so why don't we, here, let's go back. Let's take a look at Cirrus Logic. Okay, so you want to know how many analysts there are following this particular stock. From this page, I'm not entirely sure that you might be able to do that, but you should be able to do that if you go to the Investing.com site. Yeah, I'd just like to highlight some of the functionality that you see on the Investing.com site has yet to be ported over to the Pro dashboard. It's something that we're perpetually working on, and slowly but surely we're moving more and more functionality into the Pro dashboard as well. So let's see if we can find out where the analysts, the number of analysts are here. Okay. Analyst ratings. Okay, I'm going to click through the technical analysis. So I can see the number of recommendations here that they're giving. Okay, analyst sentiment. That's probably it. Okay, we got 7 ratings. Here, so that's what you want to look for. You want to go to, you can find it in the Investing.com site on the overview page. And it's over here by analyst sentiment. And there are 7 ratings total. And here you have the high, you have the low, and the average. Here are the articles, here's the position, so on and so forth. Okay, I have a question from Maratimi, 5119. In the AI recommended stocks are introduced on the first day of the month, but if we could see the date, month of addition, and removal in the grid, it would be great. Okay, in the PIX history itself, you're saying. Okay, noted. I will forward this feedback to our product team. Nice. Happy to help, John. Okay. Does anybody else have a question that they'd like to surface at this point? I'll leave the floor open for another 30 seconds. So hit me. See, times like these, I wish I had elevator music, but I don't. Okay. I think that'll do it for us today. I'd like to wish everyone a very happy holidays. For those who are celebrating, if you're celebrating Hanukkah, like I am, happy Hanukkah. For those of you who are gearing up for Christmas, I hope that your tree and lights are already up and running, because mine are too. Cool. Thanks a lot, everybody. Take care. Have a good one.